2 games can define our season, because every game matters when you're going up against City.
The players are injured. Could this be the opportunity for Ethan Nwaneri?
I think this is too big an occasion to throw Nwaneri.
A lot of Tottenham fans are looking at it and thinking, right, this is a massive opportunity for us to win the game. No Odegaard, no Rice. This is the thing, we talk about squad. Well, now the squad is needed.
Any mistakes that cost us here, he's dropped against City. That's how I see it.
Is anyone tempted to give Sterling a debut?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I am.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. With Marino, Rice and Odegaard missing, who will be starting for Arsenal on the weekend? We're going to predict it, and actually, with the various conversations I've had with people, there's a lot of potential solutions. How many of them do we love? What's the best way to beat this Tottenham side? Let's try and break it down. Here with Turkish, here with Robbie, and of course if you missed the preview, go check that out. We'll give you everything you need to know ahead of this massive game, which is, they come thick and fast. I feel like every 2 weeks of bloody North London derby. Alright, let's go through it.
Yep.
Raya starts in goal. Fine.
Yeah,
happy days. Let's no one sees a Neto debut, no?
No, that issue's sorted now.
No? Throw in a spinner.
No,
We're going to have a year of Neto Raya debates.
No, that's all done.
No, fair enough. Okay, well, we'll move on then. Right back.
Ben White, best right back in the league.
Yeah, Ben White.
Big shout.
He was last year, no?
Yeah, second half of the season.
No, I think for and the season before
Started
that.
the season well.
Season
Second
before that, I think
Trippier.
it was, yeah.
So I think, obviously Trent's generation, he's got the all-round quality, but I think as a right back who can perform all duties at right back, I think Ben White is the best in the league.
Fair enough. Okay, so going to keep his place. Saliba, Gabriel, we can just fill in the rest of the centre backs. Then the left back gets really interesting.
Big one for Gabriel though.
Yeah.
Any mistakes here
he's had a couple of little shaky
any
moments.
mistakes that cost us here, he's dropped against City. That's how I see it. He's made mistakes in 2 out of the first 3 games. He makes a mistake here, it costs us. Calafiori comes in and even him, his injury now, I don't know what's going on, but no more mistakes from Gabriel now, please.
Listen, man, I hope these bees work, man. That lady give me these bees, man, please.
Give it to Gabriel, man. He might need that.
Injured players, man. Jesus.
I actually think, without getting too kind of nerdy and technical about it, I think there could be a lot of pressure on the centre backs, because when you haven't got Rice in front who gets back and sweeps up and does so much of that, there's a temptation. Do you jump and step in and try? The minute you do that, you get it wrong. They've opened you up. So there's going to be a lot of do I, don't I, hold your position, defend your box well. I think it could be a big task for Gabriel and Saliba, because while I rate Jorginho, Partey, whoever we go for in front of them, it's not Declan Rice. Marino would have helped in that sense. I don't have to have seen him play for Arsenal to know that. And so there's going to be a lot of responsibility for them to kind of lead that defensive line. But yeah, we know they can do it. Left back then gets super interesting, because okay, no Tomiyasu, but you got Zinchenko, Kivior, Timber, Calafiori, whoever else you want to put there. I mean,
it's got to be Timber for me.
Yeah.
He's looked great in that position so far. He adds a solidity to the back line. You're going to be up against very quick, dangerous wingers. They've got very quick wingers.
Yeah.
And Son, on the other wing, Odegaard,
Johnson.
Yeah, they base their team a lot on speed, so I think it's very important that he's in there, especially with Rice missing.
I don't know a lot about how Tottenham set up this year much, but if it is like in previous years with Kulusevski, a left footer on the right who can do damage, he
may even be playing in the number 10 position, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but they do have Maddison still, so I'd be interested to see how they do that. But I just think Timber's a good matchup there. To be fair, whoever they put there, I like Timber's kind of pace. It's basically his raw pace and his strength to defend those areas.
He's our left back now. I think, when he came in, he started there before the injury, and then this season, now he's back, he started there.
Yeah.
And there was more competition for it this season with Calafiori coming in, so he's our left back, hasn't put a foot wrong in my opinion. Probably our best all-round full-back, a left back. And quite reminiscent of Ben White on the right in terms of efficient. He can get into good positions. He can fill out multiple roles in that left back. So yeah, for me, no doubts.
A lot of people are calling for Timber in midfield. Would any of you be tempted for that? We do lack a bit of legs in there.
Yeah, that's what tempts me a bit because of the legs. But I think he's important at left back as well. And with Calafiori, I was thinking if Calafiori is fit, you could possibly put him in at left back and then put Timber into the midfield. That's a shout, but I think too much change sometimes.
It would be a bit too experimental. At that point, it's like, I can imagine the players thinking, well, are we even ready for this? And he has been on international duty.
International duty. Have you got enough time to work that, So.
Yeah, very good point. Okay, so we move into midfield now. It gets interesting. Let's start with And we'll call it the midfield 2, so call it the 6 and the 8. Now, of course, we might want to put in a 10 and make it a 3 or whatever, but let's start with those two. I think having started every other game, there's no question Thomas Partey is probably going to be in this 11.
He starts.
Yeah,
He
starts.
180 minutes for Ghana, though, but he starts.
Yeah.
Is that maybe a good thing? You know,
I think it's actually a good thing.
He's
I
not
do,
looked
because
all that really, has he, this season so far, if I'm honest?
In that sense, yeah, but when you got 270 crucial minutes coming up in a week,
yeah, of course,
and we haven't seen him play 5, 6 full games in a row for a long time.
You know what?
I think you could rest him for
You know what though? I feel though, with a player like that that's been out for so long, the fact that he's playing back-to-back is a good sign. You know what I mean? He's getting back to fitness.
Get his body right.
I think so far this season, I think it's been more you're seeing a player's not fully fit. The way he sprayed the ball around, and that's been really, really good. The way he's got, you know what I mean? I think we've just seen a player that's not been up to full speed yet. So hopefully with them extra minutes, that gets him up to full, because they're going to need to be, because they got quite a dynamic midfield. So that is going to be one of the things for me.
You know, one of my big takeaways from the Brighton game where we were down to 10 men, I thought, oh my word, we've lost Rice and we don't really have the legs around Partey, and Partey's not the player he was 2 years ago in terms of covering ground. But almost when there was a need to, suddenly he was actually getting about. He was making tackles.
He put some good tackles in.
So you do have it in you still. I almost think he started the season in second gear. Let me not get injured. Let me build momentum and rhythm. And maybe that's just hoping from my perspective, trying to see if there's any of the old Partey in there. But I just watched him in that Brighton game when we had to hold on. I thought,
played well.
You were covering ground and you were getting about and you were doing the defensive midfield duties that 2-3 years ago we knew you could do. So maybe alongside Jorginho, he's going to have to bring that side of him out a little bit more if we go for a Jorginho, that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rob said in the preview, we got the most experienced midfielders on that pitch.
That's true,
of all
actually.
the injuries to Partey and Jorginho. For me, I'd go double pivot in front of the defence, because we don't have the legs of Rice, and last season we gave them possession here. So if we're going with a similar thing, double pivot in front of the back line, and when you got two experienced players like that, then you can be a bit more free to express with the front four. So I think they'd complement each other well, and individually on their days, quality players at the highest level, both Partey and Jorginho. So what we need is both of them to have one of their days on Sunday, because they're going to be important. And we're going to need to rely upon them, because Tottenham are going to have chances. They're going to apply pressure, and them two are the ones protecting that back line.
My theory, and I do double pivot as well, but my theory is Jorginho a bit, only because his lack of games. He's not actually played a game yet this season. And I go back to that game last season when he came in remember he played that game at home against Tottenham.
Yes.
And he made that error when they scored from it. He actually was then very good after that, but he made that error when he got caught on the ball. And I don't think that would have happened to him if he'd have been playing a few games, you know what I mean? So that's the one thing. They're going to try and press those two in midfield. Partey, I think, will be all right on the press. Jorginho's not really played at that intense level at all yet this season, and that is a little bit of a worry.
Was there a temptation to play Havertz in midfield then and bring him back?
Nah.
There is, but Havertz has scored 2 goals in 3 games. He's had an assist. He's looked bright in that area. I want him to stay up front. I want him to play, you know, and plus there's not many options because Jesus might be back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to back those two. You know what I mean? This is the thing. We talk about squad. Well, now the squad is needed, so we need to call on them. That's what I was saying this to my daughter. I was saying, if Fabio Vieira was there and we hadn't sent him on loan, we'd still be moaning and saying, oh, he's not Odegaard.
I agree with that.
So we got to back these guys now. They're 2 very experienced guys. Play them, like you said, in a double pivot. You know what I mean? I think they'll be all right. That's
my vote too, I think, as well, to go with those two. But there is a temptation, I think, for Havertz if you're talking about legs in midfield and dual winning and all that. But I do what Arteta said in a press conference to me when I asked about White and Timber. I said, why is White right back and Timber centre back? He said to make fewest changes possible. We'll run that for this, I think, especially with the form Havertz is in, because I think he did well against Brighton. Missed a chance, I think, to maybe win us the game, but put it on a plate. Well, not on a plate, but did really well for the Saka chance. And I think his overall play in that game was really good. Scored a good goal, 2 and 3, like you mentioned. Let's keep him up there, because you never know. He might just provide a moment that might win us a game where we're struggling. So I think we all agree, Jorginho, Partey is what we'd go for.
Yeah.
Is it what we think Arteta will go for? That's the whole point of this video.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. If you look at Jorginho, and that game at home to Liverpool last season, to get Rice in the 6, to make sure we had legs there, he played Jorginho more in the 8 and it worked. Could we do that again for this game? Okay, so that third midfielder gets interesting, because what are we going? 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. What are we going to do with that third player?
4-3-3. Ranieri, I didn't want to rely on him, but I think now he's our backup to Odegaard. All that hype. He hasn't started a Premier League game for us. That's the big risk we're taking. The away North London derby, it can make or break a man. But I think he's got the confidence. I think he's got the ability, the quality. And again, I talked about the double pivot protecting the defence. That double pivot also protects him in the 10, in my opinion. He'll be a bit more free to express.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And with Tottenham, the space they leave, especially in that middle part, in the midfield, I feel like he's the one mobile, natural midfielder we have available. Mm-hmm. And like you said, you don't want to weaken other areas by putting Havertz in midfield or Saka. Like, why are you going to take your best winger and put him in there? Why are you going to take your best striker and put him in there?
That's been on my mind, and I'm still torn. Because you could put, you've been going on about it for years. This might be the moment when you put Zinchenko into that area, because Zinchenko.
It's his time.
Zinchenko.
Come on, Alex.
He does play there, for his country. He's a very creative player. Again, another very experienced player. But then, and I think if he went into that position, I think he'd do all right in there. But is he mobile enough? That's the thing I'm torn on. Like you keep saying, with Ranieri's young, mobile. Could he be, like they threw in Kobe Mainoo and then he just embraced it. It's a bit of a risk, but I think I would go with Ranieri to start with. And then if it's not really happening, then you bring in a Zinchenko into that role.
That's what he played as a youngsters, isn't he,
Yeah, but he's not great though, full stop. I mean, we talk about he plays for Ukraine. Ukraine are not great.
But he's good on the ball, man. He's very creative player. And I think,
Is that your vote, Zinchenko in that area?
He's swaying himself over there. Listen, hear me out, yeah? If you don't start Ranieri, then the chances that we're going to need Ranieri off the bench is more so. And we can't afford to have him coming on to change a game for us. That's even more pressure than starting
I think I go with Ranieri for what he's saying there, in the fact that if it's not happening, then you can bring on a Zinchenko or you could drop Havertz back in there.
Yeah.
But this is...
Interesting.
Listen, surely the reason why Fabio Vieira's gone out on loan and we've promoted Ranieri is because the manager has faith in him. Have faith in him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you can't let Vieira and Smith Rowe go and then Zinni's our backup 10. I'll go mad. It cannot be that. That's essentially what we're saying here.
Time for Ranieri to rise.
And like we said about the legs in midfield, with Zinni on the bench, we've got a chance to bring Zinni on for a Partey, and Timber goes into the midfield, and we've got the overload there as well with Zinni coming in.
What are you saying?
You know what he's saying, man. He wants that one on the column against you over the 2 years.
He's been calling for it for about 3 years. This could be
He's wearing number 17 now.
What's that mean?
No, it's an attacking
He's
number,
on the bench.
It's an attacking number. Yeah. I think Arteta has always turned to seniority and experience in times of need, and I think Trossard maybe in midfield.
Yeah, there's that option.
I think he could go with Partey, Jorginho, because you've got to think, if we are gonna counter and transition on them, then basically our number 10 plays up front. They press alongside Havertz, and that's our shape. So could you have, and now I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but could you have Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left? You've got their work rate. We know their work rate's phenomenal. You've got their pace too. That then means you don't have to pick between Trossard and one of the others. Get him more central. Havertz up front. And then you've got a bit of everything. You've got pace, you've got height, you've got a moment's play in Trossard. When that ball comes into the box and it just drops on the edge of the area to anyone, you want Trossard hitting it, like we saw at Villa Park. And he's done that before. I'd go Trossard and Havertz, almost as like a front two, a little bit old school. I think this is too big an occasion to throw Ranieri in. I'm not saying he's not capable, I just don't know. Whereas I know what Trossard's capable of. If he goes with Ranieri, I'd applaud it. I'd say that is a real show of faith and you believe in him. And you know what? We'll see how it goes, but at least you're backing the player. At least you're showing that there's faith in someone who, at a young age, we know there's talent there. So I'd go Trossard.
Okay.
I'd go Trossard.
It could be Trossard as well. I wasn't even thinking along those lines, but It's not a bad shout.
That's our best game changer for me, so I would keep him on the bench.
That's the thing. But we've now added Raheem Sterling, so you've got potentially a game changer there. Jesus is expected to be on the bench, so potential game changer there. That's the other thing. If Jesus is actually fit to start, then the argument is, well, Jesus starts and Havertz comes into midfield, like we saw against Leverkusen. So it's not been years ago since we saw Havertz in this position. In pre-season, he was playing well there. Or you could go Trossard, Falstein, Havertz in midfield. So there's a few things you can do. Let's talk about then that front three. Saka, of course, on the right. What would you do on the left? Is anyone tempted to give Sterling a debut?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I am.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
It has to. It hurts me to say because of Martinelli. I think this game needs pace.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it to Sterling because I think Martinelli needs a little kick up his backside, and for me that would be it. The new boy comes in and he starts on the left, and it's up to you to come off the bench and do that.
I didn't expect that.
I do it as well. You got a guy point to prove, hungry, chomping at the bit. He's had 2 weeks to get used to the team. He's not been on international duty. He's an experienced player again. This is just the sort of game where he'd love to come in and make a mark. I'd start with him. You got then, even if you did play Trossard in the midfield, you got Martinelli who can come on later and make an impact in behind. More pace again. And as you said, if Jesus is back, you've got him who can back up Saka on that side, or even come in for Havertz if it ain't quite working out and you need to drop Havertz back into midfield. So I'd start Sterling, man. And then sometimes you've got that player that they don't know what's going to happen. They're not used to seeing him in an Arsenal shirt. They're not used to seeing him in this system. What's going to happen? What's he going to do? Where's he going to be? That unknown sometimes unsettles a defence. All of a sudden, they're worried. Do I, Pedro Porro, can I bomb forward as much? Because if Sterling gets him behind, we've seen him, he's a quick player, he carries the ball well as well, which is another thing you're going to need in a game like this. You're going to need a player to carry the ball. I'd have him in right from the get-go, man, and we'd excite the fans, I feel, as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? In a lineup where there's a little bit of doom and gloom because of a couple of senior, really, two of our best players missing. Unknown guy comes in where the fans are excited to see what he's going to do, and then they're worried about what he might do. And I'm telling you, I feel Tottenham fans, they see Sterling in from the start, they're going to be a bit worried. That unknown sometimes really does go a long way.
Where are you going for?
Martinelli for me. Because his work rate's unbelievable, and I think we're going to need that in this game.
Sterling's this as well, though.
Yeah, it is. But I've seen it in an Arsenal shirt for Martinelli, and Martinelli, whatever his form's in, he relishes these derbies. He doesn't always play well in them, but he always leaves it out there. He always gives it his all in the big games. So I would vote Martinelli. But there you go. That's our title for the video, eh? Turkish and Robbie want a Sterling start, and Havertz up front then.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're trying to understand what this bench looks like, Don Robbie fans walking past.
And he said we're still doing it at the weekend, no matter what.
Yeah. I love that. If we're building a bench, just very quickly, who can we expect? Neto will be on the bench as the backup keeper. The likes of Kivior,
got a lot of defenders still.
Calafiori.
Yeah.
Tomiyasu won't be back.
For me, your lineup leaves Sterling and Ranieri as the game changers. Our lineup leaves Trossard and Martinelli. That's why I'd start Ranieri, because I feel like this game might need the game changers, and I think we would be light. Obviously, Jesus, fingers crossed, maybe he's somewhat back, but I think sharpness with him as well.
I have to say, Turkish, right? I wasn't thinking Trossard, right? And I'm starting to feel that. Put it this way, if I come to the game and Trossard's starting there, I wouldn't be unhappy with that. It's not a bad shout, that. And it's another goal scorer on the pitch. So if a chance pops up, you know what I mean? So I'm not against that. It would just be quite. And if I'm right, he didn't go on international duty either, did he? So he'll be fresh as well. So
it would be quite a jump from how he's used him. He's used him in midfield before as like a left 8, but now you're asking to do Erdegaard's role, so it'd be interesting.
I think he could do it.
Didn't he say he's a support striker though? Didn't he say he's like this man behind the striker?
Yeah. And he's done that before at Brighton.
Yeah.
I think his best position is in the spaces a 10 gets into, basically. In and around the penalty area, that kind of close control, and he's shots from distance, gets goals.
Why not?
Let's see, that could be interesting.
I've changed my mind, I've changed my mind to that. I like that.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Well done, James. I like
Mikel, hope you're watching. Watch him have a stinker in the 10, and everyone will be hating on us in this video. I think that's pretty much it. There was one thing I was going to bring up. You mentioned game changers. I mean, the likes of Lewis, Skelly, Saladin, they're probably all going to be on the bench as well. Obviously, again, there'd be a lot of pressure to have to turn to one of them, but these are young players that look quite good in pre-season. If there's a need, there's a need. And, we talk about Atalanta, we talk about Man City. Of course, these are the big 3 games coming up. Cool. Listen, I'm not for one second putting Bolton at home in with those 3, but I don't for one second want to lose that game and go out of cup early. So they're going to be playing some football as well. So the squad is absolutely going to be used.
These young players are going to let them rise. You know what I mean? City do it. You know what I mean? They've done it with what's the kid with the Afro? Rico Lewis, Kobe Mainu at Man United. You know what I mean? Lots of team have given these young players a chance.
Well, Cole Palmer came from City's academy, getting minutes when the squad was a little bit short. So, James McAtee's another.
Yeah, and I said last year, a lot of people are moaning about it. Oh, why are we not giving Wanyeri and these guys a chance? Now they got their chance.
Yeah.
Let's give them a chance. Let's get behind them and let's see what they can do.
Yep, let's see.
They might surprise us. It might surprise us, and we think, wow, that's exactly why we didn't need to go and get nobody. So
Raheem, if you're watching this, just a hat-trick please on the weekend. Everyone let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Robbie and Turkish, to my surprise, have gone for a Raheem Sterling start. Do you agree with that? What would your 11 be? Would you tweak the system? Some have suggested 5 at the back. Do you go that extreme? There's a lot of things Arsenal could do. The point is Arteta, for the first time in a long time, is going to have to get creative. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this lineup's going to be on Sunday around, what time's the game, 2 p.m?
Yep. 2 p.m.
So quarter to 1. You will find out the 11. We'll be live on AFTV to react to the 11 as it comes out. Hopefully, we'll get some positive injury news as well coming through around Calafiori. We'll find out about Marino. We'll keep you, not Marino, Odegaard. We'll keep you up to date with that here on AFTV. Big thanks. See you soon.